In 30 seconds. All right, thank you. It is 4:45 p.m. on Thursday, July 17th. I'm President of the Commission, Christina Lambert, filling in for Mayor James while he is out. And this is our special City Commission meeting today. So calling the meeting to order. I expect you all to have civility and decorum here in this room today. And then we'll start with our public hearing, item 3.1, resolution number 172-25, establishing maximum millage rates for the fiscal year 2025-2026 at 8.1308, the not to exceed rate, which is 5.39% more than the rolled back rate of 7.7152, and debt service millage rate of 0.0580 for the fiscal year of 2025-2026, and establishing the date for a public hearing on adoption of the budget for fiscal year 2025 and 2026.
Good evening, Commission President and Commissioners. Bridget Souffrant, Chief Financial Officer. We're here tonight for the not to exceed millage rate, as well as establishing the date for our first public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 budget. Resolution 172-25 authorizes the mayor to sign the Department of Revenue forms certifying the city's operating not to exceed millage rate of 8.1308, which is 5.39% more than the rolled back rate of 7.7152. And it also sets our debt service millage rate at 0.0580 for fiscal year 2025-2026. From a procedural standpoint, and as a reminder to the Commission, this is the proposed not to exceed rate. If approved tonight, it could be reduced at a future public hearing, but it cannot be any higher than what is voted on tonight. Additionally, the resolution before you sets the first public hearing date for September 8th, 2025. The rolled back rate is the calculated rate that produces the same amount of operating tax revenue for fiscal year 2025-2026 as that which is available in the prior year, excluding our new construction. The proposed fiscal year 2025-2026 budget keeps the operating millage rates flat at 8.1308, the same as last year. The debt service millage rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 decreased by 0.0053, bringing that debt service millage rate to 0.0580. The debt service millage rate is calculated to cover our debt service payment on the 2020 Parks and General Obligation Bond, which for fiscal year 2026 is a total of $1,405,000. The proposed total operating and debt service not to exceed millage rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 is 8.1888. It is staff's recommendation that the resolution before you be approved with a not to exceed millage rate for fiscal year 2025-2026 of 8.1888. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. I do have one question. Do you mind putting that slide back up? Thank you. Oh.
Which one? One more?
No, to the other side. Thank you. I just want to make sure I understand. Are you, the first bullet, is that the operating millage rate that you're suggesting we're using moving forward?
That is the operating millage rate for the general fund budget, so the non-debt millage rate that we have and are currently working into the proposed fiscal year 2026 budget.
And so our not to exceed rate is slightly higher than that, and so we are looking at a lower millage rate?
We have to adopt the not to exceed rate, which is this operating millage plus the debt service millage.
Understood.
So they are separated, but then combined totally or in total for the resolution.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Commissioner Peduzzi.
Thank you. I don't really have any questions, just a comment. I certainly don't have an objection to setting a not to exceed rate here today, knowing that we'll be able to come back and really take a harder look at it. I would just suggest that things are good now. The economy is, seems to be good. Our property values are great. And I think that when times are good like this, we need to look at, potentially providing some relief to our citizens. And maybe we should look at just a modest decrease in the millage rate. It still would be a tax increase because I wouldn't suggest going too far, back with the millage rate. So it'd probably still be considered technically a tax increase because, the way the numbers work. But I think we should consider it as we did a couple of years ago. Just putting that out there for my colleagues to.
Commissioner Fox?
Thank you. I agree with Commissioner Peduzzi. I think normally by this time in the budget season, we've seen the full budget. And so because we haven't seen it, I am not sure, what we're looking at in terms of increases. I see Ms. Johnson has her hand up. But so this is just to the do not exceed rate, but we can always talk about it in our workshop next week after we actually see what the numbers look like, if that's correct. Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Johnson, did you have a comment?
Yes, Madam President, members of the board. Commissioner Fox is correct in that at this point in the process, the board would have had the general fund budget work session wherein we presented the proposed budget. We are behind schedule, so you're getting the not to exceed maximum millage rate presentation before you get to the work session. One of the primary reasons that we are off schedule is because of the challenge with balancing the general fund. And that will be amplified come Tuesday when we do the general fund budget work session. So as it relates to what is before you tonight, that 8.1308 millage rate is the current millage rate. It is what we are currently operating. So in spite of the challenges with balancing the general fund budget for FY26, we are still proposing to keep the millage rate at the 8.1308. Clearly understanding that it is the board preference to be in a position where we could continue to reduce the millage, and that certainly would be at the board's discretion after you get through the work session on Tuesday.
Thank you. I appreciate the extra time you all are putting into it, and I know we all look forward to diving into that at the workshop. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, I'll receive a motion.
Move to approve resolution number 172-25 and set the first public hearing on the proposed budget for September 8th, 2025.
Second. There's been a motion and second. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. It looks like that is the last item, and we'll reconvene at 5:01. Thank you so much, Ms. Souffrant.
Thank you.